What up, my peoples? Welcome back to another edition of Life and Times of Rack Low. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Word, 2L's up, salute. Being exposed to the Deuce started for me in the early 1980s. My Aunt Pam and my cousin Al Kim had started living at the Holland Hotel in Manhattan. Now, the Holland Hotel was considered a welfare hotel that housed low-income New York City residents who got assistance from HRA, Human Resources Administration. Now, due to me and my aunt and my cousin being very close, relationship-wise, my mother and father allowed me to spend weekends. And when this happened, I became exposed to committing crimes. I also became affiliated with other crime doers and engaged in some vicious acts of larceny. My cousin Al Kim was always a thoroughbred in Brooklyn, so when he moved to Manhattan, he only progressed in his scheming and taking money. Through my cousin Al Kim, I also became connected to these other Midtown regulators by the names of Chris and Ibbett, who I later referred to as the Uptown Pocket Diggers. Also known for chain snatching and causing complete chaos during these time frames. Their names rang bells. From that point on, the Deuce had become my stomping grounds. But it was always a lovely feeling being on the Deuce, seeing and absorbing the bright lights, all the tourists, the photographers with all the ill hip-hop backdrops, all the movie theaters, the people, all just the vibes in general, the arcades, like just that fast pace, that fast life. And of course, all of the ill fashion, the fashion that came from all the different boroughs and communities that make up New York City. It was a dope look. Being on the Deuce, it always boosted my motivation to want more in life. It gave me a chance to intake the world from an international lens, because the Deuce, also known as Times Square, is a melting pot of folks from around the world as far as tourism is concerned. But unfortunately, the Deuce had its downside as well. It was never surprising seeing or witnessing drugs, prostitution, police brutality, and lots of crime and sex shops. As a golden era representative, I've been blessed to see a number of mayors hold office during this time period as well, such as Ed Koch, David Dinkins, and Rudolph Giuliani. I would say Giuliani was the one that revitalized the Deuce and made it more tourist friendly and appealing. But in the 1980s and 1990s, the Deuce was a major attraction for New Yorkers from all 5 boroughs and the tri-state area for that matter. I remember people hitting the Deuce on their birthdays or probably just to go to check out the latest movie. And for Easter Sunday for sure. On Easter Sunday, the Deuce stayed packed. Like on Easter Sunday, the Deuce was like one of the main places to be. You had to make like your appearance on the Deuce. That was ill. Now, the original lowlifes started hitting the Deuce as a team in 1987 through 1988, respectively. Of course, some of us had prior experiences being on the Deuce, but before coming together, it was nothing like it was as a collective, As a collective, it was more historical, and it was viewed as culture and lifestyle. The Deuce was like a weekend hangout for lowlifes. I remember hitting the Deuce as far as hip-hop nightlife on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. On the Deuce, we would, of course, attend the hip-hop clubs in the vicinity, like Midtown 43 and California Club. We used to take classic photos. You see all the photos that's floating around right now? A lot of those photos was taken on the Deuce. Of course, representing the low-life mantra, money, hoes, and clothes. So, of course, heads used to be out there on a prowl, on a mission to bag up, females, the fly female. and clashing with other crews, that was a real thing, because when you was fly and you got busy and you had a reputation and people knew about you, you definitely had confrontations and clashes with other sets, crews. It was that serious. So you had to just, be on point. And of course, robbing people, getting money, taking other people's property. That's what lowlifes did. That was definitely a lowlife specialty. Getting into a lot of trouble and causing a lot of mischief. At the same time, we found ourselves making New York City hip-hop fashion history. This catapulted us to 2010, where I founded the second biggest and most consistent event in lowlife history, Low Goose on the Deuce. Now, for Low Goose on the Deuce, I pretty much reignited and resuscitated the culture. Low Goose on the Deuce is an annual event, an annual celebration of vintage fashion, brotherhood and sisterhood, community building, camaraderie, love, loyalty, competitive sportsmanship, and of course, people from all walks of life and ethnicities coming together for exclusive entertainment and the sustainability of cultural fashion art, values, morals, and customs.